Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight for this edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series, and it is our book review edition. Tonight, the book we'll be looking at is entitled Working Together, 12 Principles for Achieving Excellence in Managing Project Teams and Organization. It's a mouthful, so I'll mention it again. Working Together, 12 Principles for Achieving Excellence in Managing Project Teams and Organization. Our facilitator tonight is Kweto Adesina Martins, and is the Assistant HR Manager at Studio Press Nigeria Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to mention very quickly that our facilitator for tonight is a graduate from the Lagos State University, and he read economics. He also has a master's degree in industrial relations and personnel management. I also like to let us know, ladies and gentlemen, at the background, we have our ever reliable, delectable Ezine Obiora, who just decided to stay at the background, but she's very much active and with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and pleasure inviting to the virtual lecture for the first time, and hopefully not the last, my colleague, my friend, professional body, Martins, as he takes us through the book, Working Together, 12 Principles for Achieving Excellence in Managing Project Teams and, of course, Organizations. You have the floor, my brother.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Yemi. Thank you for this great opportunity to work on this, to give a review of this book, 12 Principles of Achieving Excellence in Managing Projects, Teams, and Organization. I really want to thank Ezine for our assistance for preparing for this review. I say a very big thank you, and good evening to everyone. So let's go into it immediately. The book majorly talked about how we manage our teams, projects, our organizations, as HR professionals, how we will be able to relate with other people and what needs to be done. In the first place, the first chapter talked about change is never easy and the first flight. And in the first flight, it is encouraging us that we should always bring everyone on board. That is, everyone must be involved in it and be committed to it. And for everyone to be involved and be committed, the vision and mission of the organization, of the project, must be clearly stated. It must be in a simple form. The vision should be so simple that it can be repeated anytime, anywhere, and it is very easy to repeat. Why the mission is what each and everyone does to get to the vision. The change never easy. It says for change to happen, according to the author, for change to happen, you are key to your success as seen. The author said any project management or anything large is attributed to everyone that participates his or her part. That is, everybody must participate in their part for that change to take effect. Nobody should leave anything for anyone, and then there will not be lapses, and the change or the desired results are not achieved. That is all what the chapter 1 is saying about. What really struck out to me in the chapter 1 is how we, as professionals or as managers, we don't want change. That, okay, this life has been going, that is how it is. But this book has enlightened and encouraged me to always see change as a need for progress, as a need for trying out new things. And I think I'm good with it, sincerely. Chapter 2 talks about meetings. Meetings, there's each one and every one of us. We have 1 or 2, 3 meetings that we attend every month. And this book is saying, in meetings, everything must be included. And the author gave his narration of his experience of the meeting he had at Boeing, in the making of the Boeing 77. And he said that in the meeting, all departments were allowed to present their reports. Their reports in a way whereby they state what has been done, what has not been done, what is yet to be done, why is not yet done, and where they are facing challenges. And these reports are done in a way whereby no one is chastising anyone or no one is covering anyone. This is where one of the principles came out. We can't manage a secret. So later on, we'll be seeing more details about what's said by can't manage a secret. So everybody is allowed to say whatever is going on in their department. One of the other principles that was shown in the meeting by the author was that everyone is included. He said even contractors, external vendors were present at the meeting to share their own report too of what are the supply, what is yet to be supplied. Visitors are also allowed to partake in this meeting. But in all things, it made a statement and it says, if you can't run a successful meeting, how can you run a successful organization? I was like, wow. If you can't run a successful meeting, how can you run a successful organization? This should be a question for each and every one of us as professionals, as managers in our various workplaces, and for us to actually think about this. That if you can't run a meeting, how can you run a successful organization or a team or project? Another principle that was shared in this chapter 2 was that it encourages us to enjoy the journey. That is, that most people are in your company for different reasons. A principle-centered organization has a competitive advantage over those companies that has no principle. It's stated that principles promoting self-actualization, whereby everyone tries as much as possible to make input in the project. So in a company whereby there are principles and everyone is trying to make an input in the project, therefore there's something that everyone is willing to achieve that is beyond just the paycheck, and everyone is enjoying the journey of what is going on. This book actually opened my eyes to a lot of things that maybe we've always been lacking, especially based on our culture. The chapter 3 talked about working together. And for us to work together, we need to understand the organization we are working in. And the author was able to give 3 different types of organization that exists. And it says either your organization exists as a machine, that is, we use a part of that organization to determine how the organization is doing. For example, some people only use the finance, the monetary aspect of the organization. That is just what is happening in the finance department to gauge the whole activity of the organization, which is somehow false. So as a machine, if you view your organization as a machine, that is, you use a part. Machine is full of different parts. Well, like everything is different. So for you to understand the machine, you need to lose the parts separate. So now you now pick maybe the parts. Like for example, now let's say the gen. You say, okay, if I understand the engine, then I understand the gen. But you've forgotten that carburetor is there. And you've forgotten that yes, the fuel tank has its own role to play, and you're focusing on the engine. That the engine is the whole gen. Then the second part is seeing your organization as an organism. An organism, by definition, is to survive. That is, all your company does is just to survive. If the government policy is favorable, they adapt, they survive. If it is not favorable, they adapt, they survive. And the survival that the organization is going through is just to please the stakeholders at the expense of these employees. So some of us are also working in such organizations that function as an organism. Now, the third and the best organization model is an organization that is working as a system. That is, as a system. And as a system, it doesn't just mean that, yes, it means aside from individual departments, all departments are interwoven. They have a relationship. It is a social system. The organization functions as a social system whereby they interact with one another. Here, it is easier to make projects, it's easier to express problems, it is easier to seek help from other departments compared to other structures that organization is new. Now, for the system, we'll try to give, like, let me just give it according to the book. Said the whole has one or more defining definition. Each part in the set can affect the behavior or properties of the whole. There is a subset part that is sufficient for carrying out defining functions of the whole. No part of the system has an independent effect on the system. The effect of any subset of parts on the system as a whole depends on the behavior of at least one other subset. So from the last definition, the effect of any subset of parts on the system as a whole depends on the behavior of at least one other subset. It will show you that, yes, these departments in this system are related. That is, they function together, they do things together. Like, let's use manufacturing is a whole chain of a lot, from the purchase departments to the stores receiving the goods, moving it to the machine for the preparation of whatever product they are giving out, and taking it to the finished section for them to do the finished goods, then moving it down to the finished goods for delivery. Now, if raw material doesn't come in, as you can see, this organization is a system, is a continuous chain. So if one part is not functioning, it tends to affect another part. So they tend to come together to seek for solution, and then everyone move together. Hence the need of working together. So by defining these ways that organizations think, either as a machine, organism, as a system, by now you should be able to know, oh, my company is like, we are a machine, because everything depends on the finance department. We are an organism, we are just surviving this period. And we are a system because everyone relates with one another and they solve problems together. They need to work together. Stated that it is important to know that an organization is a social system and its overall performance depends on the interaction among its parts and its environment. So in environment, we'll look at first two, that is political environment, social, technology, labor, regulations. And then we look at all these things that affect the organization, and then how we are able to collaborate with them. And in collaborating with these external factors, most of us as HR professionals are at the forefront of collaborating with these people and how we relate with them and how it affects our company is very, very much important. And there's also, in this same chapter, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6 is a lot. Like, they packaged it. So we'll be dealing more, then we'll stay more in that field. So we have cooperative effort in chapter 3, which says working together as a principle. Simply recognize the need to be coordinated, to have coordinated cooperative efforts, and the need for certain ways of behaving in the context of workplace. So there must be coordinated cooperative efforts amongst the employees so that everybody knows what he or she is supposed to do, where he or she is supposed to be, at what time is their break, and all these little things that make the workplace a better place for everyone to work. And the need for certain ways of behaving in the context of workplace. which is where we come in to propose code of conduct, dress code, mode of reports, and all those type of things. These are things that help the workplace to have a cooperative effort. The other part that comes up is working with customers. True patronage occurs when customers and suppliers participate directly and regularly in the decision-making process. As the author experienced during the Boeing 777 project, he experienced the presence of customers, suppliers at a meeting whereby they are building something for them. And he was surprised that what's happening here. But along the line, he later gets to understand the input of the customers and the suppliers. Therefore, customers making known that, oh no, this area that you people are dealing with, this is what we actually want. Can we get it? Suppliers, yes, I have this material I can supply. So all these things are part of what they call it, working with customer or external vendors. Going forward, we have another subtopic, which is a major change. It says it is hard to convince people that they could be more successful through intercooperation than competition in an organization. The author stated that employees need to know that their competition is towards other organizations and not members of their organization. So this is very common in our workplace, in different places, whereby departments are competing against departments, individuals are competing against individuals, instead of us to work together. Like, you cannot be competing against your fellow worker. You have to cooperate with your fellow worker to achieve a desired goal. Cooperation with your fellow worker helps and reduce your workload, the bulk charge, and then there's a fulfillment that comes with working with your colleagues and you achieve a certain desired result, instead of us competing together to do, we call it notice me. You are competing with others for notice me. And this is quite some of the things that happen in our organizations, and we cannot say, no, it does not happen. Let us be sincere. One of the things that competition does to an organization in the long run is that it hurts an organization in the long run. Because of competition, some people go as far as sabotaging their fellow workers. And that your fellow worker can be the best at what he does. So please, if you have or work in an organization whereby competition is the best way to achieve results, please kindly seek more cooperative ways of how your employees can work together to achieve a desired result. And this can be done through the reward system. You reward what you want. If you reward cooperation instead of competition, you will get the desired result. If you are rewarding competition, then there will be competition. But if you are rewarding cooperation, then there will be what? Cooperation. The author beckons on us to reward what we want. So the question I want to ask you, as HR strategic partners, what do you want? What do you want to reward? This same chapter talked about improving performance, which has always been one of the areas at which every HR manager keeps striving and creating new ways to improve performance of some people by placing them on PIPs after performance management review, place them on PIP and trying to make them get better at their job. The author made it known that an organization as a machine is only a profit-seeking organization for its owners, whereas an organization sees itself as a social system, sees that as its purpose, so does its constituent parts. So, as a machine, you're a profit-seeking organization. Ogata. That is, we sell, we not sell. our money must complete. That is seen as a machine. Now, for the system part, all the constituent parts must come together and make their little donation for it to go. So for us to improve performance, we need to understand that each and every employee has his or her own ideals, interests, and purpose. Neglecting them is at a great risk. So sometimes we just, okay, want to do performance improvement plan for someone, and we neglect their ideals, we neglect their interests, we neglect their purposes. And then we just focus on work, 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 work. What is the KPIs that needs to do, and then the training that you put there. But sometimes maybe it's just another angle. It may be interesting for us to ask them, okay, what are your ideals? What are your interests? What? So maybe this person have not done this thing for a while. There was a story, I'll use a story of a footballer, Dejan Stankovic. He requested for break from the team. And his coach then was Jose Mourinho. That was Inter of 2010. And his coach told him, no, you are not going on break. I need you. The whole team is in great shape. Why will you decide to leave the team and then just destabilize everybody further? After some time, and they've played, and then they stayed, they played, and then they walked, and then all of a sudden the coach walks in. Hey, you remember that break you requested for? Go for it. And he gave him some numbers of days to go after his own interests and purposes. So I would like to ask, how many of us really know the interest of our employees and those around us, that we can tell them, hey, when last have you gone to play soccer? When last have you done your karaoke, singing? Just something that elevates their spirit and then put them back on the right track. So that's that about improving performance. The author made it known that good performance only exists at the intersection of tools, people, and system. Tools, people, and system. That good performance only exists where these three things meet. So your tools, what you use at work, what you use to do your job, are you provided with the tools needed to work? The people, yes, there is no working place without people. The people that are working at that workplace, and the system put in place. How is the system put in place? Is the system done just to sideline some people that those ones, anytime we need them, we call them. So when these three things meet together, the people, the tools, the organization has a great environment for workplace, is lively, is not too stringent, then we will see people coming together and then delivering the best. The improved performance is achieved when workers are able to meet their personal needs in performing to meet the organizational goals. Improved performance is achieved when workers are able to meet their personal needs in performing to meet the organizational needs. That is, when your workers are able to meet their personal needs, then they don't have a problem in performing the organizational needs. So if people are not meeting their personal needs, you hear it too, because they will not be able to perform at optimum to give us the best result. So we need to look into their personal needs and see how we can assist in helping. And then the author went on to talk about quality of work life. And he said quality of work life is a need that is met personally while performing to meet organizational needs. Quality of work life is a need that is met personally while performing to meet the organizational needs. It also states that the higher the quality of work life of an employee, the higher the performance will be. So the higher the quality work life that any employee has, the higher the performance will be. Because if his work life is able to meet his needs, he'll be able to perform well. And so in this chapter, especially in this chapter 3, is showing us how we can put things as HR, little things that we can put together to have great cooperation amongst our people and have a good cooperation of our people at workplace. So therefore, you have to put in all these little things in place to have a proper organization where people are working together, where subsystems interact, where there's no chastising, and then where everything aligns to achieve the vision of the organization. And chapter 4 now leads us that chapter 4 states one of the principles is that you must have a compelling vision. You must have a compelling vision. A manager must get people to perform at the minimum acceptable level. Yes, we have minimum level that is acceptable or minimal acceptable performance, and that is just on the survival level. That is, everybody just come, do their minimum, and go home. And that is just a survival level, and that's like maybe working in a company that sees itself as an organism. So everybody comes, do their minimal acceptable performance, and go home. However, no organization wants to survive on that level. They want to grow and they want to develop. Hence, organizations frequently ask how to get people to perform above minimal acceptable level. And how do we get people to perform above minimal acceptable level? We make them do something meaningful. By telling them to do something meaningful, past and this is understand every past and present example of human accomplishment had a vision of what the outcome of their efforts would do for them. They had a vision of what the outcome of their efforts would do for them. So, if you have a vision, you must put in the required effort for it to become an accomplishment. So therefore, making your employees to have meaningful purpose for themselves and towards the organization will help raising the minimal acceptable level of performance. I'll say it again. Raising minimal performance, like acceptable minimal performance level of workers, you need to give them a meaningful purpose at workplace, and by that extend it to their life. And there's what they call beyond motivation, and this is also stated in the book by the author. In Beyond Motivation, the author made mention that when we are motivating our workers, we simply focus on KPIs, all the things that they need to do at workplace, and then those are the only places that we reward. And it is the author is telling us there are other things that we need to focus on, and we need to arouse the passion in people. You need to arouse the passion in people. You need to get them on the go. You need to know what their passion is and how you can help them. He says, there are no heights to which the human spirit can rise. When people see that their work has a meaning and purpose, there is no height to which the human spirit can't rise up to. There is no limit. When people see that their work has meaning and purpose. So the question is, are you giving your employees meaning and purpose? By giving them meaning and purpose, you raise their human spirit and they deliver as you wish or as you want for them to deliver. However, passion is insatiable. because we are human beings. Even as humans, we are insatiable. So is our passion. We might have passion for something now, and then the following day we don't have it, and then want to do something else. It's because we are human, and these things are understandable. So, as HR and professionals, we need to find ways to always keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning. In the sub part of this chapter, the question the author asks, what is vision? I think we should ask ourselves, what is vision? And he made it very simple. He said, vision must be simple, actionable, and resonate with people. Vision must be simple, actionable, and resonate with people. He went ahead to give a clear distinction between vision and mission. He said, vision is a picture. A vision is a picture of the end result. That is, a vision is a picture of the end result. That is, whatever we want to achieve. Okay, let's say, for example, we want to build a car. The vision is a car. That is the picture of the end result. The mission for everyone is to develop parts and implement them and manifest the supposed end result. Mission is to develop parts and implement them and manifest the supposed end result. So, vision is the picture of the end result. While mission is to develop parts, implement them, and we what? Achieve the end result. In missions, you use the word like terms, use terms like why, how, what, when, to keep gaze on the vision. We use words like why, how, what, when in mission, just to keep us on our gaze on the vision. Therefore, like I said, our vision must be simple, actionable, and resonate with people. And it also beckons on us that in this same chapter, that we should lead and not manage. We should lead and not manage. And the typical example used by the author is an orchestra. He said the conductor of an orchestra does not make the sound. His true power is derived from his ability to make other people powerful. His true power is to make other people. You hear the soprano, the tenor, the bass, the guitarist, the bass, the guitar bass, the keyboardist, the drummer. All of them are the beacon of the conductor of the orchestra. All of them are the beacon of. When he moves his hand, you know what he's saying. When he goes left, you know what he means. When he goes right, but it doesn't make a word. Because everybody will sit down and we clap, we shake our head at the tune of the song. This conductor is making them powerful. So the same thing, the author is beckoning on us as professionals, that we should make our people powerful and be the conductor. That is, we conduct and they follow. And by making them powerful doesn't mean that, yes, you should carry one kind of heavy task. By making them powerful is for them to do little tasks and be successful in them. And you just tell them, well done. But deep down, that well done is going to give the person a very swelling feeling inside them. And they'll be like, wow, Oga tell me well done. Oga tell me well done. You get? And by that, you've fueled their passion to come to work the following day to come and do. Now, the nature of the vision. The author used comparison of different authors, and he postulates that your nature of vision must be shared by the people in the organization. He stated that most organizations don't even have a vision or mission statement that inspires their employees. Using the example of the Boeing 777, the vision was that a flight in a hot afternoon from Honolulu to Denver a flight in the hot afternoon from Denver to Honolulu. That's like they are going from Denver to Honolulu for vacation. But what is going to convey them from Honolulu to vacation? From Denver to Honolulu is a plane, of course. It's a plane, of course. So therefore, the vision and the picture of this is that we are building a plane that will be able to transport people from Denver to Honolulu for vacation. So this vision, as you can see, is very simple, and it was shared by everybody that was making that Boeing 77. Everybody was focused that, yes, we are making a plane that will carry people from here to this place. So now the question you have to ask yourself is, what is the nature of the vision of my workplace? What are we really into? What is the end goal of our work? And then by doing this, you need to create a vision that inspires. And you can use the following questions to do that by asking, what is unique about the organization? What is unique? What do you deliver? Is it customer service? Your customer service is top-notch? Is it your purchase department? They are top-notch? Is it your source? Is it your sourcing? The talent that you get as an independent contractor, top-notch? And then you use these things as your selling point. Use this thing as a selling on behalf of your organization. You ask questions like, what values are true priorities for next year? What does the world really need that our company can and should provide? So you ask questions using what, and I'm very sure you get a clear picture of what the vision will be, and then now jump into how to create mission to achieve the end result. And that is that for chapter 3. Chapter 3? Sorry, I'm coming. So everything we spoke about on vision now has been on chapter 4. Sorry for the mix-up. Everything we spoke on now is just about chapter 4. Then we'll move into chapter 5. One of the recommendations of the author for chapter 4 is the power of vision, Joel Baker. So if you're interested in maybe gaining material or resources to really understand what vision is, get yourself The Power of Vision by Joel Baker. Baker is spelled Barker. So move to chapter 5. And in chapter 5, the principle there is you must have clear performance goals. Clear performance goals. It should be noted that the mission of every organization is to achieve its vision. The mission can only be achieved if various goals and objectives are reached. The goals must be clear, and the goals must be clear to everyone and must be communicated and committed to by the people who must accomplish them. However, goals must be clear and not conflicting. This is very important. Goals must be clear and not conflicting. Like we have in some companies whereby the goal is to purchase some things, and the purchase department have made their request, they help you to account to the finance to make payments, and finance is saying, this is not our schedule to pay this week. It is until next week before we pay for it. Because you people's schedule is not in our plan to pay. So there are always these conflicting goals from department to department. But if the plan has been done and the system has been integrated, it will be easy. Nobody will say, no, until next week, until next 6 weeks before we pay for them to supply the raw materials needed for production. So hence, goals must be clear and not conflicting. Now, in preparing these goals, it is now depends on the management's view of value, because value sometimes also leads to conflicting goals. So value creation, what is value creation? Value creation is defined as the wealth created for a company's stockholder through price appreciation and dividend. The solution to conflicting goals in this value aspect is to adopt a mindset of managing for value. It should be noted that consistency is more important and beneficial to shareholders than one-time creating such actions. So if you have a system of managing value for shareholders and it is consistent, they will keep you. But if you are just a one-time show-off person, like for example, you just say, okay, this problem now, what we need to do is to restructure. And you restructure, after restructuring, what next? Restructuring is just a one-time thing. So what next? How do you manage the value that you brought to the company? So you need to manage value so that it will not lead to conflicting goals. So you manage values, and then when you manage values, it reduces conflicting goals in your organization. Now, we talked about performance in the previous chapter, and here in chapter 5, we are asked again, how do you measure performance? Traditionally, the author stated, the measure of performance have been the most exclusively related to finance. Everybody's just looking at the numbers. How are we doing Biovas? How are we doing this? How are we doing? Everybody's just looking at the numbers. Yes, the revenue is this, the cost is this, and then everybody just basing all decisions on number. And the human factor is removed from the whole entire, from the whole entire view of the performance that is going on. So therefore, they do not include assessments of human-related situations. However, it is changing. Thanks to you, thanks to me, thanks to our other HR professional colleagues, this is changing. And performance have been checked not just only through numbers, but also through other human related situations, like how do people communicate among themselves, all these things that are not measurable in quantity are now also being taken into consideration in measuring performance. Performance goals in projects is one of the sub in the area, and it says it is the project manager's job to make sure that every contributor knows 3 things. So that means if you are running a project, or if you are an HR manager, or you are leading a team, it is your duty to make those under you to know what must be done, by when it must be done, and how acceptable performance will be measured. What must be done? This is what we are going to do. By when must it be done? We have 2 months to do this. An acceptable performance will be measured, that is, what are we going to achieve in doing this test? And we measure it based on the result we get in regards to those things that have been stated. Performance relates to what deliverable is supposed to do. However, we should note that the 4 project goals of every project include performance, cost, time, and scope. And one of the ways to, especially to put all these things together, is to have metrics. So metrics are the way at which you measure a goal. As in, you get to know if it has been achieved or not achieved. You put metrics under them to know the goal that has been achieved. And one of the best way we do that is through an exit criteria. That is, we put what they call, like, we as HR now can be told, okay, we need to maybe review the job descriptions of everyone in the organization. At the end of it all, after reviewing the job description, we tick it has been done. That's an exit criteria. You've done something and then you tick it that yes, it has been done. That is exit criteria. And you must have performance tied to some kind of goals which have to be met. So performance should be tied to some goals, and then use exit criteria to tick it up. And one of the subtopics in this chapter 5 is that keep it simple. Keep it simple. The simplicity of the vision made the journey of the success of Boeing 777 easy. So by keeping the vision statement simple, we are going to make like every other thing simple because everybody can tie their goal to the vision. Questions to ask your department, the team you are leading, the project team. What are our goals? How will we measure them? Our goals are measure comprehensible enough? Is it comprehensive enough? And this is for chapter 5. This book is a lot. Like this book is open, though yes, we see some of the things that we do regularly at work, but we might not actually know what it is. But this book has actually helped to like elaborate, give example, insight, and you must be open-minded. And this brings us to chapter 6. Chapter 6 is one of the principles that says one plan. One plan. And according to the author in chapter 6, he says, plan makes us to have control over outcomes. That planning helps us to have control over outcomes. And one of the rules is no plan, no control. I think we need to put this in front of our office or somewhere whereby everybody can be reading it. No plan, no control. That is, when you don't have a plan, you don't have control over situations. Plans helps you to keep things under control. Yes, there might be something that will come and disrupt the plan, but at least you have a plan already. All you just need to do is just to review, adapt, and then you go on to the next thing. And he says, some people are so used to not planning and they have resistance towards planning. And the author says some people that have been successful without planning don't see it as a burden for them to plan. And one of the resistance issues to planning is called, he mentioned 2 resistance to planning, and he called it paradigm problem. Paradigm problem is born out of the belief system. It's born out of a belief system that is tremendously powerful. A belief system that is tremendously, this is where people that don't plan falls into. That without planning, they don't jump into it, they do it, they are successful. Yeah. Okay, now when you now tell them, let's try a plan, and they say, well, don't worry, we'll just forget that. And they go into it. If they succeed, fine, they are good. If they fail, they go back. But they don't see planning, they see planning as a burden. And I believe some of us are like this here. We see planning as a burden. We just get into some things and then we do it. So please, I'm begging you, take your time to plan, as planning makes you to have control. The other thing that makes people have resistance to planning is the pain inflicted on people due to process of planning. Like after planning all these things now, after planning, you have the fear of reprisal, not meeting the goals or targets to which the plan is committed to. Fear of not meeting the goals or targets to which these plans are committed to. And it causes pain. You know, when you plan for something and you are committed to it and the thing fails, it comes with another type of pain entirely. And people are not willing to face it. But despite that, please plan. Despite that, please plan. But if you plan and fail, when you go back again, you have experience. Then you did not plan and you fail and you go back to it. You must go through it. And this brings us to one of the subtopics chapter 6, which is concept of planning. And it says the view given to company will determine how the planning goes. Hence, a corporate plan is seen as a collection of the plans separately prepared for each part of the whole. So corporate plan is seen as a collection of plans of different departments or different subunits, which is made together as a whole. The direction of doing this is to involve dealing with interdependent problems holistically. That is, it helps the organization to deal with problems holistically. That is interdependent problem. That is problem that relates to maybe 2 or 3 units. Maybe procurement, finance, and maybe the production units. They are having a joint problem. This problem can be resorted out because everybody knows what their plan is, and holistically they look into this problem that ties these units together and resolve it. And one of the subtopics in this chapter 6 is the holistic principle. The holistic principle helps us to understand that the more parts of a system and a level of the plan simultaneously or independently, the better. So holistically, principle is stating that we need to plan as a corporate entity together, and we need to plan as a department or as a unit of that organization. That is what holistic principle is talking about. And in this same chapter, we have what they talk about joint problem solving, whereby people have problems in their department. At the meeting, they raise this problem, and somebody from another department give them another view of resolving this problem. That this is the way subsystem works. You don't say, okay, for let's say your company sees them as a machine, profits, like your organization sees them as a machine, as a profit-seeking organization, just profit. And now they are not making profit. And somebody in production says, why don't you people do giveaway or do promo? And the people in the finance say that have always been about profit to be like, what are you talking about? But instead of to look at the angle the person is coming from and say, okay, let's do buy 3, get 1 free, buy 2, get 1 free. And maybe this to encourage people to, or let's do another advert, or let's change the, what do you call it? Our packaging color or one thing that can make people attractive. So these are just ideas that you should not solve your problems alone, but rather request that people assist you in solving your problems. And this brings us to the end of chapter 6. So we go to chapter 7, and which says everyone is included. In chapter 7, it says everyone. Remember when we started in chapter 1? One of the things stated in chapter 1 is everybody is included. And what they mean by everyone is included in this chapter 7 is that you cannot execute a project. You cannot execute a project if those that plan it are not involved. You can't practice exclusionary tactic. You can't practice exclusionary tactic if you want collaboration from people. That is, you cannot isolate yourself and you want collaboration from people. And one of these things that we see is we have people in our organization that feel that yes, they know it all. They know it all, and they don't want to hear opinions from people. Some of us work in our organization whereby they treat us as you don't think for us, we think for you. We tell you what to do, and you just do it. And whereas you that you are on the, let's say manufacturing, you that you're on the machine, and you are dealing with the problem, knows the solution to the problem, but you are being shut out. In this aspect, you are not included. And the results are definitely going to show that you are not included. Now, while doing this, the author came up with what they call failure of quality setting. And he used what they call it, the US and the Japan as an example. That in the US, everybody is individualistic and always what they call it, and always trying to outsmart and outshine the other person. And we have that in some Nigerian organizations. And he looked at the Japanese, and they have what they call a quality circle. That is a circle whereby top individuals from different departments come together and they discuss issues and they give each other ideas of how to implement one or two things in their department. And everybody still go back. And even inside their department, they still have quality people that they call and say, okay, this is the idea that I got. What do you people think? And they resolve these issues together. And they resolve the issues together. And it says, in your, what do you call it? In your organization, you should have quality safety. Because as HR, we might be viewing many things from the HR perspective. And maybe we have, let me not say driver, let me say maybe, but we have someone that is in another, maybe in the maintenance department, that is very close to us. We just see that say, well, see, I'm going through this problem, Jari. And you know in your head, you are thinking only HR this thing, only HR solutions. And the person say, this thing is not hard now. Just do it like this, and then you get the solution. And you be like, Abi, what do you know? What did this man know said I say this? But later on, you now think about that, like, it's true. I should try this. And you try it and it works out. Is another way of everyone is included. Another way of everyone is included is get to work. The only thing people can nobody dare says anything to them. But as HR, we should be able to go around and speak even to the lowest of the lowest in the organization. They will tell you what you are not seeing. As we are all HR, we have people that give us information now, because we are not everywhere. But we have people that give us information. Are these people, why are they giving this information? If you're able to also speak to other people that are from other places, the gardener, the driver, the security man, they will tell you what you are not seeing. Some of them will have more information than us. In our office, pressing our assistant, doing one thing or the other. But these people are seeing movements, they are seeing how people are doing. So get everyone included in your decision-making process, in your gathering of information, get everyone included. We also have some organizations that say, hang your brain on the gate. And one of the things that the author expressed at the beginning, chapter 1, about everyone included is that it's a place where they say you should drop your emotions at the gate and come and walk and go. That when you are going home, you should carry your emotions and then be going. I will not lie. I was one of the people that used to say that before. But now I've learned better. And one of the things I learned is that people bring their emotions to work and use that same emotion to work. They cannot drop it at the gate. There is no way they want to do it. They cannot drop it at the gate. But because you set the context of workplace, they will bring their emotions to adapt to that context of that work rules and regulations and policies, and they will just stay in their emotions to do that. There are some days that you go around, you see some people, they are not okay. Send them home. I'll use my place as an example. We have an in-house clinic, and doctor comes in to check them once. And I was just walking by and I saw somebody in distress. And I told the person, go and see the doctor. The doctor's around. When the person saw the doctor said, oh, give him 2 days sick leave to rest, just to rest. I'm like, okay, on doctor's recommendation, go. Only for the person to come back after 2 days and became the liveliest person on the floor. Hey, hey, hey. And like, if anybody has seen you 2 days ago now, they will not know that you were in distress and then you were, like, Ogami, I needed those 2 days off. I was able to relax, take care of myself, and then we are back to work. So you must not tell people to hang their brain on the gate and just tell them that, okay, this is what you want to tell them, and they should do it and they should follow it and go. Now, in this chart, in everyone included, the author made us know what we call game without end. And this game without end exists in every organization. And this game without end happens between management and employees. And how does it happen is that management takes an action, employees react to that action. Management sees the reaction of the employee as an action and what? React also. So in this, they will continue playing that game like that. And it is a game without end. The author said each side sees its response to the other as response to the behavior to the other side. So they are just responding to the side, and everybody is giving themselves gas goes. And then everybody should not give themselves gas goes. Management play a part, employees will play their part. And in between this management and employees, HR, we are the errand person. We will go to employees, they send us back to management. Management will send us back to them. At one point, employees will ask you, on whose side are you? At one point, management will ask you, on whose side are you? And if you tell them, I'm on nobody's side, though, I'm neutral, they'll tell you it's a lie. You're on somebody's side. But I tell you, depending on the issues, we are on someone's side. And that is just the simple truth. And then there is another subtopic that came, and the customer comes second. In many organizations, they say customer comes first, or customer is always right. This book said customer is not always right, and customer is the second. And reason why is because the way you treat your employees is the way they will treat your customers. It's as simple as possible. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Let's use, for example, customer service. The people in the customer service are disgruntled. Do you think they attend to customers very well? Like they are disgruntled about the situation. I think they attend to customers very well. Imagine the disgruntled employee at Chicken Republic attending to you. How will you answer? Good morning, sir. What do you want? And you mentioned, okay, I'm coming. Just fling the thing on the table. Push. Sir, that's what you order for. As a customer, how would you feel? Or you're in a hotel and then the person that is serving you serves you one kind, and then you don't know the effect is not there. You just flare up and say, what type of service is this? It's very poor service. But between employee and the employer, they know that yes, something has happened. That's why this person is reacting this way. So treat your people right, and they'll treat your customers right. I'll say this again. The way you treat your employees is the way they will treat your customers. The way you treat your employees is the way they will treat your customers. And that is that about chapter 7. And chapter 8 is exciting. Chapter 8 is somehow difficult, but it is one of the best ways to keep us to remain objective as HR. And it says, data set us free. That is, when we have data helps us to make quality decisions, objective decisions. Data set us free. You know, we are dealing with humans, and there is no way that they don't bring in their emotions when they come to make complaints or when they are talking about issues that personally affect them. They put in their emotions. And I will always use an example because I'm in the manufacturing industry. And this is one of the examples. When my people are paid, they will take like 3 days break. They will not come to work. 3 days. And the attendance shows that yes, we are asking for 3. Okay. And then at the end of the month, it's pay as you earn. Those 3 days, they're not paid for it. And these people say, hey, I work for the whole month. They did not pay me complete. They now go to the attendance and check. Okay, were you not absent for 3 days? They did not say, it is true. Okay, I forget. Data has set me free. Data has set me free. But if there was no way that I was keeping the attendance, then there would have been a problem for me that I did not pay complete at the end of the month. So the author says it is easy to get upset about problems that is existing in a project. That is, every project comes with its problem. Everything comes with its problem. If you have data, facts, you can decide what to do to solve those problems. So if you have data and facts in your hand, you can solve problems that come up in your project. So that is reports, results, what they call it, monitoring the consistency of some areas or some key areas of the business or the organization. And through the data that you gather, you can make this comparison and then give your insight on what to be done. So chapter 8 is say data set us free. One of the lines, one of the things I got from chapter 8 is data set us free from speculation. It set us free from guessing and needless anxiety. Data set us free from speculation, guessing, and needless anxiety. You are not, what they call it, there's no unnecessary anxiety anywhere. You are not guessing, you are not speculating. You just look at the data and you make your decision based on that. Number 9, chapter 9, I've said it before. We talked about you cannot manage a secret. In chapter 9, it says, you can't manage a secret. Here we'll be dealing with that aspect. You can't manage a secret. And one of the ways or whereby you can't manage a secret is that it shows us how organizations like their culture, the organizational culture, and what they call it, how they evaluate managers and other things tend to affect these things. So in one of the meetings that were explained by the author in Boeing was that all departments, even plus the vendors, were allowed to say what they've succeeded in, what they are working on, what is a roadblock for them that they've not been able to achieve, and everyone listens without not telling them, why haven't you done it? Why haven't you done it? Why are you still there? Why haven't everybody just listed it and then you look at it, okay, this problem now, let's forget about it. Maybe by weekend we'll see how, or by next meeting we should be able to get some solution, or the executive pick it up and then try and provide a solution for these people and ask them, what have they done? What have they not done in regards to the project? And then there is no chastising. But in some companies here, everybody, in some companies here in Nigeria, from the supervisor to we, the HR, from team leads, all we know how to do is to look for faults in everything that everyone is doing. Hey, you did not do this one. Hey, you did not do that one. Hey, you not down. Hey, what you are doing? Hey, you not that. They'll start keeping secrets because they know when they hear about the problem, they will be chastised. I'll continue to use myself that I work in the manufacturing industry and I have an Indian expatriate, which is Indian. And yes, no matter the problem you are having, carry him along. Once you carry him along, there is no problem. He will know how to mitigate the problem and resolve the issue. But if you don't carry him along and the thing now explode down, You've entered one chance, so no Jupiter will save you. But his own is carry me along. And I used to tell them too, carry your people along. Carry your HODs along. If you're in a machine, you're seeing something, stop production because of it. They've never sacked anyone because you stop machine. Why did you stop machine? There's a problem here. They will come maintenance. Maintenance will look at it. If it can be work done, then if it cannot be work done, then production stops. Maintenance works on this, and production resumes. So here in this chapter 9, it is telling you you should be able to allow some level of mistakes and errors at your place of work, and not chastise people, but be able to resolve their issues. Now imagine you as HR, any small thing, you're always lambasting, shouting, suspension query here and there. Nobody will tell you anything, no. And then you'll be looking at me like, are these people, is anything not going in the organization? But because you've made yourself, how do you call it, Margaret Thatcher, and then you made yourself, what do you call it, Egbon Adubo that doesn't hear, nobody's going to approach you for anything. So here you have to encourage your different systems in the organization not to keep secrets, because when they keep secrets, it's going to affect the other subsystem. When they keep secrets, it's going to affect subsystem. And I had an issue like that at the end of the day, we had to trace the problem from the finished goods to the raw material. And we found out that the secret was kept at the raw material level, whereas the problem has gone down through the production line till finished goods. So encourage your people not to keep secrets, and that you can't manage the secret. They should stay it out. In one of the topics we'll be seeing, it says that forgiveness is cheaper. Forgiveness is cheaper than keeping secrets. So if you do something wrong or you make a mistake and you come out and say it, you can be forgiven than when you cover it and you keep covering it. Everybody keeps covering it. And all of a sudden, Boko Haram happens. Wow, the wala started. So chapter 9 is all about not keeping secrets, and it says we must differentiate between failures caused by stupidity and those caused by unproven things that can contribute to knowledge. So some mistakes are caused by stupidity, and we should not overlook it. For example, there's an OPRP on a machine, and you don't follow the OPRP, and maybe it now leads to maybe an industrial accident or something. From investigation, it is going to show that yes, this person didn't follow the operational procedure of that particular machine, and it led to an industrial accident. Therefore, yes, the accident has happened, the company take care of it, but such person should be punished because of their stupidity. Now, because of unproven things can be a lot of things, and when it happens, you should be able to learn one or two things, how to control it, and how to. Or for example, now we have, due to pressure now, most people in your workplace, most of them are dealing with high blood pressure. We had an incident at my place whereby the staff collapsed, and then we had to check his BP, and we found out that his BP is off the roof, and we had to use our veterinary hospital to help him to get to his normal food. Immediately, you see, it's unexplainable. You see, it's unproven things until it happened. Immediately, we put in the process. Every 2 weeks, every soul must check their blood pressure in the clinic. Every 2 weeks, it is mandatory. And by doing that, we're able to detect some people that and we've sent them to the hospital to be attended to, and they are doing fine. So please, as HR professionals in your department, please don't manage a secret. Be able to discuss with your higher ups and then another people. So that is that about what was said in chapter 9. And then we'll go to chapter 10. And it says, whining is okay. It's okay. Whining is okay. And one of the experience of the author is that with one of the executives of the Boeing, he says, you can tell us if you need a hug. So long, you can tell us if you need a love. So long as whining doesn't become a habit. Whining is okay. So long that it doesn't become an habit. You can tell us when you need a hug. HR, how many of you tell your people that you can come to the HR department when you need a hug? And maybe you create maybe a venting space for your people. Like in Catholic Church, we have what they call confessionals. You go there, the Reverend Father doesn't see you. You confess your sins, everything, blah, 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 blah. And then you say, Father, this is it. And the Father tells you, okay, go my child, say no more. Say this prayer and go. HR, I'm asking you a question though. How many of you give that opportunity to your workers to just come around? You don't judge them. You don't even give your opinion. You just sit down and you listen to them. And they say everything that they want to say. And you just tell them, yeah, come, let me give you a hug. Ask yourself this question though. It's very important. That is the human part of your resources. People should be able to come to you and vent and say issues to you, and then you help them. You help them. But in doing this, there must be certain limits. That is, one person cannot be whining every day at your place of work. Kilo day is only the person that has problems in this life. So there must be certain limits, and there must be certain, and then recognizing the limits of our control. How do we recognize the limits of our control? We recognize the limits of our control by doing risk management. We should be able to know where our control, and then when they bring some kind of issues to you, you apply risk management. You identify the risk, you quantify the risk, and manage the risk through development of contingency plan. Like some companies used to have what they call it, personal contingency plan with their workers. Whereby, okay, you come to them with an issue and they know that yes, this issue needs, they apply risk management and they put in a contingency plan with the person, and the person follows through this contingency plan. And at the end of the day, the person is glad that yes, HR was able to help, HR was able to assist, HR is really on his or her side, and this person sees HR department as a friend of an employee, not as a defender of the management. So chapter 10 is saying, whining is okay. Whining once in a while is okay because life happens to every one of us, but it should not be every day. It should not be what? Every day that we have whining. Now, chapter 11 says, propose a plan, find a way. Propose a plan, find a way. And this is that in every project, in everything you are doing, there's always one problem that arises or one thing that comes up in one way or the other. And the author is telling us that propose a plan, look at this problem. After applying the risk management principle, look at this problem, propose a plan, and find a way. Find a way to resolve the issue. And one of the things that maybe this chapter is saying is that we should be what? Persistent. We should be what? Persistent. He says, don't give up. Find a way to solve the problem. And at the very least, hang in there. Let me give you an example. I have a friend. He says, my problems are like Premier League team, that the one they can resolve is one that is topping the league. The one they cannot resolve will go down. After I resolve the one that is topping the league, it ticks it off. Okay, you bye-bye. He says, tick it off, bye-bye. Then, next, he attends to the next problem. If the next problem he cannot resolve, he takes it to the bottom of the table. And he attends to the next one. And there are some, we call them work in progress. He has started working on it, but it is work in progress. He hasn't gotten to the final. So as HR, there are some problems that comes to our table that we can't give solution or answers to them immediately. And therefore, it is work in progress. It is progressive. And then we keep working towards it until we get the final solution. But we know that, yes, the people, the employees that are with us don't understand that some things are like that. And I don't blame them, actually. We Nigerians, we are like ATM machine. We pose the problem and we want the solution with immediate effect. And me too, sometimes I'm like that. E.g., let's use E.g. inside traffic, whereby traffic lights are on green. And you can see your distance is like, the traffic light says 15 seconds to pass. And you know that before it will get to your turn, maybe 10 seconds. And then one person in front of you is now slowing down. The way we used to press our on, pa, 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 and the person should leave your front. Like we have some approach to some issues. But here, it is telling us that we should be persistent, we should propose a plan and find a way around problems. Some will be resolved immediately, some it will take time, some it will even take more than time for it to be resolved. And in this aspect of the chapter, it also it says why we have a job. And many people don't know why we have a job. Even some of us in the HR don't know why we have a job. Now, this author says, it's because the organization has a problem and needs you to solve it. That is why you have a job. Because if there is no problem, there will not be need to employ any one of us. They employ us to handle human issues, deal with external regulators, and we resolve problems that arise from these areas, and we give our reports. This helps our employers to focus on how to achieve the vision and the missions to be put in place. So therefore, actually, we are helping them to solve a problem. And so therefore, is every other person in that organization is doing. That's why we give them KPIs. And we use these KPIs to monitor how they are solving the problem. Hence, the KPI serves as a plan and control to resolving problems of the what? Employer. So, and in this place, it says, it is easier to get forgiveness than permission. How is it easier to get forgiveness and permission? Because most of the time, we have people that are under us and they just, what they call it? They just wait for instructions. They don't take initiatives. And after some time, just say, because this person doesn't take initiative, we look at them and say, this person is redundant. And they're like, I don't need you, go. And that is it. But when you have someone that takes initiatives and do some things with his or herself and makes a report to you, and while doing these things, we are not expecting them to do it the way we would do it. But they've taken the initiative, they've reported. Would they make a mistake? Yes. Now, why they make that mistake, we pardon them. We at least we give them that, oh, you're taking the initiative. And then we pardon them and say, okay, now that you've done this, oh, you made this mistake, oh, you are forgiven. But next time, do it like this, do it like this. If anything is not clear to you, come to me. I will explain better on how you're supposed to do it. Than for you to just sit down and be waiting for instruction. So what I'm saying is this is you people at your place of work or learning the rope of the HR, please and please kindly take initiative at your workplace. You can review job descriptions, you can review the policies of your place of work. It helps you to become a better person. It helps you to know the job. It helps you take risk, but don't take risk that will put you inside trouble. Take risk that you know the outcome already, and that yes, you're able to deliver. On this way, you are going to train yourself. Now, while taking risk, you are building trust. You are building trust with your team lead, your HR manager, with the management. You are building trust. And while you are building trust, a Reverend Father used to say, the reward for more work is more work. The reward for more work is more work. So as they are building trust, they are trusting you with work, and they'll be trusting you with more work. So be ready to do more work. Some of us are experiencing it. They are adding more work to our work. But it is called, what they call it? Development. You are developing yourself because you don't know where you meet yourself next tomorrow. And for the next chapter, we have listening to each other and help each other. And what the author found is that Americans are not team-oriented. For them to be team-oriented, you have to train them to be team-oriented. For them to understand that they have to participate in the team. So, and he found out that in some, like the Sweden, the Scandinavian country, that they are team-oriented because they grow up doing things in group. And he said, one of the major issues about listening to each other and help each other is that people don't listen to each other. Yes, HR, you are one of them. You don't listen to people. And he says, why people don't listen to each other is because, this is very funny, but if you think about it, is that as the person is saying whatever they are saying, instead of you to listen, you are thinking of the reply you want to give them. You are thinking of the reply you want to give the person, instead of you to listen very well, and then now the meaning of a communication is the response it gets. That is, the way you communicate something and the response you get, that is the meaning of communication. Like, do you understand? So now it now says the responsibility of communicating rests with the communicator. You are communicating to get a desired outcome. Therefore, the responsibility lies on you to communicate properly. And in this way, you help each other by communicating properly. But first, you have the duty to listen before you respond. While the person is talking, don't have to say, I know what you want to say already. Stop. Let me give you the answer. I'll not lie you. I'm guilty. I used to do it sometimes. I still did it yesterday. I will not lie. But we are humans. If these things happen, but we can get better by putting in conscious effort to develop ourselves to get better at these things. So it says one of the best ways to practice this thing is to practice mediation. That is dispute resolution. You sit down, A talks, B talks. And when you see two of them talking, you see that they are not listening to themselves. That you are the only one listening to them. And I'm very sure this is relatable to us when two people in the same department or across departments are having issues. They talk, A says his own, B says his own. You listen. You find out that they are not listening to one another. Then you now mediate and tell them, no, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're not listening to yourself. This is what this person is saying. This is what this person is saying. This is the positive side of it. This is the negative side of it. This is the opposite side. Okay. Then you resolve, you do your dispute resolution, and then everybody returns back to work. One of the things that really pleased the author off is that he says, maybe as when he wrote the book, he said technology was so new that there are not any rules of conduct for it. But in recent times, we've been seeing companies putting what they call it, policies in regards to usage of mobile phones and that technology, all that gadgets and whatnot in recent times. But as I said, then when phone was still new, you see people pick their phone calls in church, and then they do like, or someone is talking to say, you hear someone talking to say, hey, excuse me, you cut the person and you pick your call. It is wrong, oh. Please, it is wrong. So these are the little tips that we can use to help better to get ourselves. And in the last topic of the book, it talks about what they call it, emotional resilience. Emotional resilience. That is, leaders must have emotional resilience. That is, as a leader, you must be able to like checkmate your emotions in the face of everything. Like if there's an emergency, your workers are panicking. Like I said before, that we had an emergency, someone collapsed, until the person to hospital. The whole place was already panicked. I was the only one forming guy man. Inside me, I was reciting our Father, who has 11. Nothing should happen to this man here. Nothing should happen to this man here till we leave the ambulance to evacuate him. But I have to compose myself, and I have to tell people, resume back to your workplace with immediate effect. And they know that once this guy changes his countenance, there is no need for us to join everybody, just resume back to your workplace because he's going to give you, like he has said. So you can maintain that composure and then you put together, and you don't cause any panic. You don't cause any panic. And the following day, guess what? Nobody wanted to go to work until they heard about what has happened to the guy. And they were waiting for me to resume. I had to come. I still formed big guy, and I now address that the guy is in good hands. He has been checked into hospital, be in the hospital for why receive treatment that they should was. Then just to put their mind at rest, I picked few people in the department to go and check up on him. So this was what gave everybody reassurance. So as a leader, you need to do what you have to do for work to keep going, no matter how painful it is. And then the author made us
Thank you so much, my brother, for that insightful presentation, very comprehensive and very exhaustive. It has been magnificent. Ezine, I don't know if you have a few things to say around the presentation, the book, and you can wrap up this session. Thank you so much, as always.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. Good evening, everyone. Look, it's like Dr. Yemi has said, it felt like I was in a course, a business course. You know, I was like, what is this? I was telling Dr. Yemi by the side that if you haven't read the book, you might, I mean, you can as well go with Martin's review because it was very thorough. I mean, I have my notes. So as he was talking, I was looking at my notes. I was like, this guy, you're saying this pretty much almost the same thing that I took down in my notes. You know, he touched on the very salient things, you know, the highlights. He was pretty much at the end, you know, he was just going to round up. He was on the last chapter. And unfortunately, I think that, you see, Victor says, yeah, exactly, you've read the book, you know. So yeah, Martins did justice to this book, to be honest. He did justice. I don't know what else can be added. One of the things I do know that stood out to me when I started reading this book was the fact that, you know how, first of all, I say it in other book reviews, how all these books are intertwined, because there were things I was reading and I was like, this was what we read in another book. This was when we had another book review. So it pretty much, people are saying things along the same patterns, but in different ways. So, you know, I love that as HR professionals, we're here, we're taking notes. Some of these things we actually encounter on a day-to-day basis, but, you know, let's find ways of, oh, Martins is back. He's back. Martins, welcome back. Welcome back. Do you want to just, you know, round up your, because yeah, you were on the last chapter anyway. Do you want to round up? Then I'll just come in and say something at the end. And yeah, because I just want you to finish this, your powerful review.
No problem. Let me just finish up and then
okay.
Come in and say. Sorry for the break. My internet went off. Sorry. What do you call it? So we are at the end of the session already. And like I was saying in chapter 13, he talked about emotional resilience. That is, he says that we managers should be able to manage our emotions and do what we have to do. As HRs, we have some of the toughest decisions to make in regards to human being. And sometimes we break down, some of us go into the toilet, we cry, we clean our eyes, we come back and we do our job as we are supposed to do. And we just do that.
Ezinne, I think we may need you back.
Okay, let me, I don't know, it feels like the network has gotten the better of him again. I mean, these things happen. Because we are pressed for time, we've been here since 8 o'clock. So let me just round up, guys. Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like everything is intertwined. There are lessons to be learned here. There was one thing that, one particular thing that stood out to me in this book. When I was reading about the guy, the president of the commercial, the person who formulated these principles, these 12 principles, his name is Alan Mulally. One thing that resonated with me was how charismatic he was and how much of a good man he is, because the author, what's his name, James, was saying that, you know, everybody he spoke to, people that didn't meet with each other, they kept on saying good things about him. So he had processes working, but essentially he was also a charismatic and good person. So, you know, there's a part of the book that talks about, you know, inspire people to passion. As the art of leadership is going beyond compliance, eye service, getting people to go beyond the point of eye service for them to actually do stuff. And that was what Alan was able to, you know, pull up, you know. And so this book, you know, the principles that this book talks on, it's a book that encourages, it goes beyond traditional managers, it encourages strategies for effective leadership, which encourages things like collective accountability, inclusive planning, and open communication. I mean, there's nothing more to say, because anything else I'm saying, I'll just be rambling on top of what Martins has said already. But if there's anything, let's take note of these principles, yeah? And even if some of them we're already doing, let's tweak them, you know, in such a way, you know, that they have effects. Make sure you carry everyone along. Make sure there's accountability. Make sure there's open communication. I talked about psychological safety. There's a book, the book we're reading, we're talking about psychology. You have to create that environment for psychological safety for the organization to work at optimum performance. So that's what I really have to say. And I say thank you once again to Dr. Yemi for the platform for us to read. We may take this thing for granted, though, but this reading is something it does to our muscles, our brain muscles. It expands us, and you just don't know. It's when you're at work, you remember something you have read and you apply it, you know. So you don't take these things for granted. Reading is so important. It's not something that we're just ticking off the boxes. All of us are very busy, but then this reading we're doing is part of growth. It's part of professional development. It's part of life development. So thank you once again, guys. Thank you for spending the time to be here. And of course, many thanks to Martins for taking us through this amazing session. And thanks, guys. You know, I know it's the start of a new month. Let's have a wonderful weekend ahead. Over to you, Dr. Yemi.
I just want to say good night, everybody. Let's get some rest. It's a weekend. Happy new month. Bye, everyone.
Good night.